Edos, or Golden Lands in the language of the elves. Dur in the Dwarven tongue is the primary continent on which many great heroes have lived and died throughout history. The continent is home to numerous regions and even more diverse races of people, beings, and monsters. Here empires have risen and fallen. Long-lost ruins and relics of a mighty past dot the landscape, and dark beings lay in wait for their time to rise. It is here that your hero's story is told. Will you be remembered for your righteous deeds, or infamous for your dark ambitions? Although there are many religions throughout Edos, the primary faith, that for which the Empire of Aurelia sanctioned, was the Church of the Redeemers. Made up of the chief deities of good and justice, the Church codified the story of existence in their holy text, the Redeemer's Codex. Though each faith has their own variation on this story, each share the same basic genesis. In the beginning, Om was born, and from his birth spewed forth the great clouds of creation. Life, order, and chaos spread out to all corners of the cradle to cover all things. In their wake, the children of Om spread throughout the universe, creating stars, worlds, and life. One such child of Om was Gaina, the Earth Mother, who with Om's blessing created the world of Dorn. Gaina is the mother of all divine beings on Dorn. Where she walks, life sprung forth and took root. She filled the sky with air from her breath and covered the world with water. Her first child was Pruffin, who she pulled from the sun itself, a golden lion, wreathed in flame and bathed in light. She tasked him with guarding the sun and guiding its light to Dorn. Gaina's second child was Durag, the World Forger, who hammered the mountains and created the depths to make the world solid and whole. She bore Abriana to spread life and watch over it, and Erethil to judge the spirit of the mortal beings returning to her essence. Many other gods and goddesses were born, and some were mortals, yet their stories have gone into myth and legend. Gaina gave much of her physical essence to her children. The children of Gaina went on to forge many creations of their own, servants and great beings called titans, giants, and other creatures that filled the world. But as these creatures competed with one another, the children of Gaina began to feud. The god Bernok looked upon all the gifts and majesty his mother had bestowed upon her kin and grew jealous and hateful. Bernok's source of corruption was from Malfurion, the god of order. Gaina had created him to ensure the order of the heavens, and this time Malfurion, then known as Alpharis, was given the title of leader of the divine host. Malfurion himself looked upon the gods' works and saw disorder, chaos, and he strove to correct the host's misguidance, in some cases eliminating entire species from Dorn. For their part, the other gods and goddesses viewed Alpharis as an overbearing brother, one to skirt around, and some even actively went against his wishes. With this in mind, Alpharis grew angry of his kin and twisted the mind of Bernok into a rage. That rage would transform him into a great titanic beast, with the mind to only destroy all things created by Gaina. Bernok spawned other horrific beasts to plague the young creatures of Dorn, and caused great death and destruction that it forced the gods to act against him. The gods' war ripped across the world and all of existence and nearly destroyed all life on Dorn. In the end, Bernok was sealed away, but his children and essence still lingers to this day. In the aftermath of this great conflict, Alpharis was stripped of his mantle as chief among the gods and became Malfurion, the Corruptor. Those who had taken sides during the conflict with Bernok formed two distinct groups that opposed one another, forming the basis for good and evil, law and chaos, that guide the actions of all mortals to this day. The gods of light and justice called themselves the Redeemers, while the gods of darkness called themselves the Tyrants. As people of Edos, we each have a personal choice to make who to follow as the gods and goddesses influence our daily lives. Will you follow the path of light or darkness, law or chaos? Only by understanding each divine in turn can one hero make their choice.